Hello, my name is Christy. How are you today? I am reading the book of 2016-27 edition, American Government and Politics Today, and that's the brief edition. We're on page 5 right now on the Democratic Republic. The framers of the U.S. Constitution choose to craft a republic, meaning a government in which sovereign power rests with the people, rather than a king and a monarch. A republic is based on popular sovereignty. To Americans of 1700s, the idea of a republic also meant a government based on common beliefs and virtues that would be fostered within small communities. The rulers were to be amateurs, good citizens who would take turns representing their fellow citizens. The U.S. Constitution created a power of republic government that we now call a democratic republic. The people hold the ultimate power over the government through the election process. But all nation policy decisions are made by elected officials. For the founders, even the distance between the people and the government was not sufficient. The Constitution made sure that the Senate and the President would not be elected by a direct vote of the people. Senators were chosen by state legislatures, although a later Constitution amendment allowed for the direct election of senators. The founders also established an electoral college to choose the president, in the hope, soon frustrated, that such a body would prevent voters from ultimately making the choice. Despite these limits, the new American system was unique in the amount of power it granted to the ordinary citizen. Over the course of the following 2 centuries, democratic values became more and more popular, at first in Western nations and then throughout the rest of the world. The spread of democratic principles gave rise to another name of our system of government: representative democracy. The term representative democracies has almost the same meaning as democratic republic, with one exception. Recall that in the republic, not only are the people sovereign, but there is no king. What if a nation develops into democracy but preserves a monarch as a largely ceremonial institution? That is exactly what happened in Britain. The British, who have long cherished the kings and queens, found the term democratic republic unacceptable. A republic, after all, meant there could be no monarch. The British, therefore, described their system as a representative democracy instead. Principles of democratic government. All representative democracies rest on the rule of the people as expressed through the election of government officials. In the 1790s in the United States, only free white males were able to vote, and in some states that had to be property owners as well. Women in many states did not receive the right to vote in national elections until 1920. And the right to vote was not secured in all states of African Americans until the 1960s. Today, universal suffrage is the rule, because everyone's vote counts equally. The only way to make fair decisions is by some form of majority will. But to ensure that major rule does not become oppressive, modern democracies also provide guarantees of minorities' rights. If political minorities were not protected, the majority might violate and fundamental rights of members of certain groups, especially groups that are unpopular or dissimilar to the majority population, such as racial minorities. To guarantee the continued existence of a representative democracy, there must be free, competitive elections. Thus, the oppositions always has the opportunity to win elective office. For such elections to be totally open, freedom on the press and freedom of speech must be preserved so that opposition candidates can present their criticism of the government to the people. Constitutional democracy, another key feature of Western representative democracy, is that it is based on the principle of limited government. Not only is the government dependent on popular sovereignty, but the powers of the government are also clearly limited. Either through a written document and through widely shared beliefs. The U.S. Constitution sets down the fundamental structure of a government and the limits to its activities. Such limits are intended to prevent political decisions based on the whims or ambitions of individuals in government rather than on constitutional principles.